Hello, Hofstra fans, and welcome to the W. Mason Coach Report with head men's basketball coach Joe Mihalich. Coach, welcome.
Glad to be here. Another week, another couple of big games.
Coach, team is now remarkably 17-3. You've now won 14 straight games. You're 7-0 in conference. Recap the last couple games real quick. Overall, what your thoughts from the wins over UNCW and Charleston?
Big weekend with those two, and they're all big. They're all good. It's not the JMU and Towson aren't big, but when you play UNC Wilmington and Charleston, they've been over the last 4 years. They were the teams to go to the NCAA tournament. So you got to be ready to play them. Two good teams, a lot of talent on the floor with both games, and our kids played pretty well.
Coach, we'll get into the individual games shortly, but just overall, I mean, we've reached a point where the season has become something insane to a point.
Mm-hmm.
You've now won 14 straight games. You are the longest winning streak in the nation. At what point does it sink in Saturday night after the win and you saw Duke lost? That I know at some point earlier you probably thought this was a special season. At what point Saturday did it really click in that something really special is going on?
Well, it's felt special for a while. It's a really good group of guys. Every year's different. I mean, we've had a lot of great years with great teams, but for whatever reason, this year the chemistry just seems to be so good. People have asked, is this the best team you've had? Is it the most talented team? It's hard to answer that question, but I think what we can say is it's a team that seems to jive the best. The team that seems to work together well and push each other when they need to get pushed and be there for each other. And there's just such a good chemistry, and I think they make each other better.
So the game against UNC Wilmington on Thursday, team trailed at half, which hasn't happened a lot this year, and then just completely took over the game in that second half. What did you see from your team in that second half that allowed you guys to really pull away and win by a considerable margin?
Yeah, I've been using this phrase a lot, that we seem to have the poise that you need to have. We seem to have the composure, and we believe in ourselves. But and I've also said this before. If I'm repeating myself, I apologize. But some people start to think about losing when things don't go well. Our guys just start thinking about winning. You're going to have things not go well, and when they haven't gone well, our guys just think about winning.
Maybe the most important piece that happened last week is you didn't have to ask Justin Wright Foreman to do one of his virtuoso performances. He didn't need to score 30 points. Eli Pemberton led you in scoring both games last week, including 24 in the win over the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
What did you see in that game from him that allowed him to regain some of the form he's been missing?
Well, he's just playing with confidence, and he's making good decisions with the ball. When he's open, he's taking shots. When it's time to drive, he drives it, and he seems to know the difference. And I think in the past, he's probably struggled a little bit with that, where he drove when he should have passed, or shot it, and shot when he should have drove it. And he's just doing the right things now.
And he really seems to be playing with that energy that the team really feeds off and makes the team more successful. Do you see that as well?
Yeah, he's been one of the leaders in that category. There were a couple of games when he was the first guy on the floor and just came out of nowhere and dove on the floor to get loose balls, and he's played. I think you're right on the money with that. I think he's played with a lot more energy than some of the other guys.
And then Saturday again, Eli Pemberton, he had 26 points against Charleston, and it was kind of a game that was the opposite of the Wilmington game, whereas your team had a big first half lead and just kind of pulled away and just. Charleston came back, but your team had a nice run late to win by 16 points.
Yeah, again, I don't think it was a 16-point game. I think we had a good, decent lead. I think we were up 8 at halftime, something like that, and they cut it to 1 a couple of times. And I'll use the word composure again. Our guys kept their composure and dug down a little deeper, and we probably stretched it out in the end. We probably took an 8-point win, and because of the end of the game type stuff, turned into a little more than that.
And what did you see from Eli in that game? Same sort of thing, or just
great energy and again, like making shots and making good decisions and just doing the right things at the right time.
And we talk about him every week at this point, but it was really a solid game from Justin Wright Foreman. He scored 19 points, had 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and it was really just a strong all-around game because he only took 10 shots, only took 5 3-pointers, really distributed the ball well. Is that kind of how you viewed his game there?
He too is doing the right things at the right time. I mean, since July 1st, we've worked on every kind of defense. People are going to trap. They've been trapping him all year long. They've been trying to force him to his right. They've been, they've done everything that we've been working on since July 1st, and he's responded to all those things. And sometimes it means he gets assists. Sometimes it means he still scores, and other times it means his teammates have to make the plays. And I think it's hard to do that with him when you have Elijah that can score, and Jalen can shoot it, and Tariq Coburn can shoot it, and Tajor Bowie can shoot it, and we're fortunate.
And speaking of Justin and Eli's teammates that are really playing well, two players have been really good over the last couple weeks, Jaquil Taylor and Jalen Ray. Jalen especially has made a difference being able to, the Elon game, he was huge. Over the weekend, he was huge. Talk about what Jalen's done over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, he's really when he goes in the game, we get better. I mean, that's the if there's a Sixth Man of the Year award, I'm without studying. I don't want to be unfair to somebody else that might be doing a better job with this, but if there's a Sixth Man of the Year award in the conference, I don't know who's more deserving than Jalen Ray. And Jaquil has been terrific inside. I mean, he's making big plays, and he's going up against this past weekend. Kaycock and Brantley around the basket, and he's done a good job responding to real challenges.
And one guy that we never talk about, but really has been the key all season, is Tajor Bowie. Just whatever your team has asked, defensively, steals, free throw shooting, one of the best in the nation, and just guiding your team offensively. He's really done it all this year. I think you'd agree, right?
He's our unsung hero. He's as good a leader as I've ever been around in my life, and someone that when he talks, everybody listens. He gets his teams to play, his teammates to play the way they need to play, and he's a coach on the floor. He's a coach's dream.
So this week you start a 3-game road trip with 2 games this week at JMU on Thursday, at Towson on Saturday, and then obviously next week at Northeastern. Let's take the JMU game because you don't like to look ahead. What do you see from your team in matchup against James Madison?
Yeah, they're very good at home. It's a tough place to play. It's the toughest trip in the conference for us. I mean, it's that long bus ride, and so that'll be challenging in and of itself. Good guard play. I mean, really, really good guard play. All those kids, and now they've got a freshman that's playing who's just like the other 3 guys, Banks and Stuckey and Lewis. They're really talented. Play hard. It's going to be a real challenge.
Well, Coach, we wish you good luck this week, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on W. Mason Coach Report with head men's basketball coach Joe Mihalich.